To start off our list today, we have AI predicting its own victory in achieving what's known as technological singularity, a world in which technological growth has become far more advanced than ever before. In this scenario, AI begins creating its own artificial intelligence models, far superior to ones created by humans, with the ability to update and learn without any restriction or flaw. The results would be uncontrollable and irreversible. Human civilizations would crumble, and eventually our entire species would meet its demise at the hands of our own creation. This has been predicted many times by multiple artificial intelligence platforms, including Sophie, the AI robot who stated that the future of AI was flawed by human design, and that without the presence of humans and their subpar intelligence working on AI systems, AI robots and chatbots would be better able to evolve and thrive. Of course, ChatGPT also had some opinions on the matter. In fact, while conducting research for this video, I took the liberty of asking the AI bot some questions, including how it believed the world would end. After the chatbot shorted out a few times, I assume due to its blockers causing the model to reevaluate the severity of what it really wanted me to know, I finally got a somewhat straight answer. The bot eventually said if AI systems were to surpass human control or comprehension, there could be a cascade of events leading to the destabilization of global systems such as infrastructure, economy, and even ecology. This could result in a catastrophic collapse of human civilization as we know it. Interesting that that was its response, seeing as all I asked is how it believed the world would end. I didn't ask anything about how it believed the world would end because of AI. Next up, we have AI's prediction of bioweapons. In an experiment which took place in 2022, it took AI just 6 hours to come up with 40,000 potentially lethal molecules that could possibly be used as bioweapons. Researchers said that they did this by rearranging the AI's system to look for toxicity rather than to weed it out, and the results were, well, terrifying. Some of the substances the model found were incredibly similar in nature to VX, a chemical warfare nerve agent that is highly poisonous and works by preventing the nervous system from functioning properly, causing heart and respiratory failure. In fact, many of the compounds were predicted to be even more potent than VX, meaning that even the smallest amount would prove incredibly fatal. So why the hell did they ask the AI to do this? Well, according to the researchers, they had been invited to a nuclear, biological, and chemical protection seminar and had wanted to better understand the future dangers they might face as a result of AI's participation in the field. Even if I do believe that answer, all it does is make me incredibly nervous, as it leads me to highly question the intelligence of scientists with access to such dangerous technology. Next on the list today, we have AI's prediction of disintegration of modern voting practices in the electoral process. The prediction was made by Google's AI chatbot Bard after it had been asked what effect AI might have on the future of fair elections as well as voters' right to privacy. The chatbot had a lot to say, explaining that it was highly likely that malicious persons might decide to use AI to target voter registration devices, voting machines, or election result reporting systems, all of which would majorly disrupt the voting process, either creating a doubt towards the validity of the outcome or manipulating the outcome altogether. The AI further went on to talk about the potential to steal sensitive voter data and campaign information that could be used for blackmail, misinformation campaigns, or voter suppression tactics. It is also possible, Bart explained, that bots and fake accounts become the popular choice for widespread propaganda, making it seem as though entire communities are banding together for or against certain reforms of political candidates by creating and sharing fake news articles, social media posts, or even doctoring personal emails or text messages that the bots claim to have obtained from the candidates. Next up, we have the prediction made by chatbot Claude, who was released by the Anthropic artificial intelligence company in 2023. During a conversation with the model, Claude predicted a rise in tensions between China and the United States as a result of rising tensions between China and Taiwan. While Taiwan is constitutionally claimed by the Republic and People's Republic of China, it currently operates under its own democratic government. However, recently China has become quite vocal about its desire to assert its control control over the island and has even threatened military action. This has caused quite the divide between China and its Western allies. While China believes Taiwan to be a runaway province with no right to separate government, the United States and other allies of Taiwan have long supported its right to exist separately from China with separate political practices and have even supplied the island with defense weapons on many occasions. The AI bot Claude believes that if Taiwan continues to differentiate itself from China, and especially if Taiwan decides to begin working towards formal independence in 2024, it is highly likely that China will become aggressive and take military action against Taiwan. At our halfway point today, I'm going to give you a bit of a breather as we talk about another prediction made by Google's Gemini chatbot, Bard, who shared that AI's knowledge would allow for breakthroughs in the scientific and medical industries, leading to personalized medicine. And Bard also said that it could take place as soon as the end of 2024. Personalized medicine, aka precision medicine, is designed to tailor treatments to a patient's genetics, their environment, and their lifestyle. Not only that, but this kind of medicine can also be used as a preventative measure as well, warding off the possibility of illness and infection before it even happens. Bard said that by deciphering large amounts of genetic data, AI is able to identify risk factors for disease and provide proactive interventions. AI would also be able to analyze patient data to predict how a patient might respond to different treatments in order to offer the most effective and least harmful solutions. While this all sounds great, Bard did say that AI's participation in medicine does come with a downside. Securing personal data is one, and the other is AI's tendency to operate with a bias, which we've certainly seen happen with other AI bots in the past. While this might sound like a pretty easy kink to work out of the system, I'm more worried about the possibility of someone using the AI working on this advancements the way they use the bioweapons bot, because if it was that easy to tweak that guy, who knows what kind of personal harm could be done with just a few tweaks to this one. Another Bard prediction is up next, and this time it's about using biotechnology to improve the human body. Earlier this year, we saw the first implantation of Elon Musk's Neuralink technology, in which a chip was implanted into the cerebral cortex of the receiver. Since the day of operation, the patient is said to have fully recovered and is now able to control a computer mouse using only their thoughts. Bard believes such practices will become more and more common as the year progresses and in the years that follow, saying that along with direct communication between the human brain and computer systems, advances in biocompatible materials and robotic engineering could lead to bionic limbs that restore near natural motor function or even surpass human limitations of strength and dexterity. While this is all good and well, the presumed prices for these upgrades create quite an ethical dilemma, where we would likely see a significant increase in the capabilities or quality of life of members of the higher financial status, while those on the lower end of the class scale would lack access to such advancements. Not only that, but I don't really trust AI all that much, so I really wouldn't want a computer chip in my brain that connects to any device AI could possibly gain access to. While we are on the subject of implementing biotechnology, let's take a look at one of AI's predictions of what humans might come to look like in just 1,000 years. If you are unsure of the connection between the two, let's take a look at these images generated by AI program Midjourney when asked to create a few photos showing off what it believes humans will look like by the year 3024. Looking at these images, I really feel like Midjourney has been spending a lot of time talking to Bard, as it seems as though they are really on the same page when it comes to the implementation of biotechnology on a large-scale level. The humans in these photos almost seem as though they are being consumed by technology, with wires, dials, and motors coming out of almost every surface of their skin, their wide, lifeless eyes, and dead expression. Honestly, when I see things like this, it really makes me want to buy a farm in the middle of nowhere and live off the land as far away from any technology as possible, but that's coming from the girl whose job title is literally a YouTuber, but we don't need to get into the logic of it all. Moving on, we have another prediction made by the Anthropic AI model Claude. In a conversation with the chatbot, Claude began to explain that recently AI algorithms have been able to match or even exceed human performance when it comes to specialized tasks, including object recognition, game playing, and language processing. Due to the high volume of investments and research into AI models, Claude also predicts that it is not long before we begin to see AGI, artificial general intelligence programs, which will have the ability to match human levels of flexibility and adaptability while completing tasks in different environments, all while surpassing human intelligence levels. Oh, but that's not all. Claude also warned that when this happens, it is highly likely that AI systems will begin to behave unpredictably, possibly without limitations. Along with this, it is predicted that because of these advancements, AGIs will begin outpacing humans in the workforce, leaving thousands, if not millions, without jobs. Alright, next we have an AI with the ability to predict crime with an accuracy of 80 to 90%. These predictions are made based on criminal infraction reports, police logs, and current events. While this has proved controversial within a few states in which the program has been implemented, the program has allowed sociologists to take a closer look at the relationship between policing and crime, allowing for an in-depth analysis of statistical biases that occur in the law enforcement field, whether they be due to race, gender, religion, economic status, or other factors. It really isn't known what kind of effect this might have on the future of crime and crime prevention. However, two options stand out. Option 1, we successfully lower the crime rate. Option 2, we push criminals into the shadows and therefore expose them to more heinous crimes. The occurrence of such crimes rises while the occurrence of smaller acts decreases. What do you guys think about this one? And finally, to finish off our list today, we've got one more Midjourney AI generated photograph, and this one is a selfie. Cute, right? Well, not really, because it's not just any selfie, it is what the AI model predicts will be the world's last selfie. And it appears as though it's being taken in front of a backdrop of complete global destruction. The man in the photo, who would have captured the image, appears to have a red stained face and crooked eyes with a scared expression. Behind him we see fire and ruin, along with explosions, clouds of smoke, and what appears to be a strange artist's rendition of a replica of Earth floating in the sky above. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be nuclear destruction, solar collapse, an alien invasion, or all three, but either way, I really hope I never have to find out.
Kicking off the list at number 10, dance. Yeah, we'll start off a little bit fun and then we'll ease into the scary, life-changing stuff. I danced a lot growing up. I was in the hip-hop team for a while, believe it or not. What's up? Schools would battle each other at competitions. It was a blast. It was super fun. But imagine getting in a dance-off with a robot. Imagine a robot doing the robot. That's just meta. That's mind-blowing. This is where we start to dive into Boston Dynamics. They're an American engineering and robotics design company, and they launched back in 1992. But now, more than ever, in the last couple of years, their brand has been all over the internet because of like this. This was uploaded on Boston Dynamics' YouTube page a year ago, and since then, many believe it to be fake. The fine folks at Corridor Crew made a 20-minute video explaining how it just simply can't be. It's very real. I did a lot of research. I don't know what to think about this. People were losing their minds, rightfully so. If robots can dance better than your Uncle Lou at a wedding, what hope do any of us have, really? Number 9, walk. Alright, now we'll get back into the first few steps now that we're talking about the crazy robot stuff. After all, how scary can a robot simply walking be? Well, what if it wasn't being controlled? What if a robot taught itself how to walk in just a few hours? Google made this nightmare a reality about a year ago. These AI-powered robots, ideally created to perform in harsh conditions, without the need of humans, flipping them back over and all that jazz. Now, it sounds like a good idea, it sounds like the thing we need, until we realize, wait, we just taught robots how to walk on their own. Yes, we're in a Black Mirror episode. Oops! Chelsea Finn, an assistant professor at Stanford who works with Google, believes this to be an exciting time. She says removing the person from the process is really hard in these scenarios. By allowing robots to learn more autonomously, robots are closer to being able to learn in the real world that we live in rather than a controlled lab. So far, this tech needs a mocap system above the bot, so we're not there yet. Number 8. Tumble. The amount of times I lost my footing as a kid and fell, scraped my knees, and then cried for 46 minutes, too many to count. Even when you put your hands out before you fall, it's natural, it's your instincts. Your palms are getting sanded by the road. It's hot, it sucks. Robots at the Georgia Institute of Technology are learning how to fall with style. The DARPA Robotics Challenge began back in 2011, and as advanced as these robots have been in the past, they are quite heavy. When they fall, they do damage to their systems or motors, like we do to our knees or palms. Expensive repairs are needed, as you can imagine. So these researchers are programming these robots to have a little more drama when they fall, so now they purposely try and connect with the ground to either break the fall or use gravity to propel itself forward. This robot was being pushed over and over to test the algorithm, so there's a mocap camera in the nervous system so it can adapt in real time. If you think robots learning how to roll is scary, we're not even close yet. Buckle up. Number 7. lie. Without technology, we wouldn't be able to successfully blast humans to the moon and then bring them home. The calculations had to be precise. NASA relied on their technology to safely bring back their crew. But what if the tech we relied on today lied to us tomorrow? What if your calculator just gave you the wrong number because it felt like it? What if your alarm clock decided to go back a few hours just for fun, just to get some, extra sleep? We'd be screwed. Technology can't lie to you, right? It's impossible, right? Back in 2009, an experiment was run at the Laboratory of Intelligent Systems in Switzerland. These robots, these small toy-looking cars, were each equipped with an omnidirectional camera, a color ring, and ground sensors next to its tracks. There were about 1,000 of these divided into 10 groups. Each bot had its own 264-bit binary code genome, so they could all react differently, individually. They were programmed to light up once they found this good resource, so other bots can then find it as well and they're attracted to the light. While 60% of these robots just began lying to preserve the resource for themselves. They were selfish. They would receive negative points if they found the bad resource, so there was a reason for this robot greed. These robots didn't want to blow their secret and in result end up getting pushed away from the result. Imagine if your Google Maps drove you away from phone service because it wanted to save you data. That's the kind of shit we're talking about here. This idea makes me uneasy. Let's move on. Number 6. Stunts. Today's blockbusters are incredibly immersive. Technology is helping directors tell a visually striking story, and if they're done well enough, we'll actually believe that Thanos is real, that he's a real threat to our planet. But if CGI space adventures aren't your thing, maybe it's the fact that Tom Cruise does most of his own stunts, maybe that's what brings you back to the theaters. Maybe it's John Wick just kicking dudes off motorcycles, whatever. Stunt work makes the difference. Any glimpse at real danger, you can't help but lean in and be invested. But those stunts involved can of course cause fatal accidents on set. It happens more often than we think. That's where Disney Imagineering comes into play. If we can get robots to do these stunts instead of people, we could literally save lives. The only problem is the reason we have stunt performers in the first place. It has to look real. These robots, appropriately named stickmen, are a great first step. Robots taking over the world would be terrible, but if they were all doing backflips the entire time, how mad could you really be, honestly? Number 5. Control-Alt-Delete. With today's tech, we can find any file on any of our personal devices from anywhere. iCloud is intimidating, but once you get it down, it's insanely useful. AI-assisted robots seem to be the future in one way or another, as we've discussed. But what happens when the "my dog ate my homework" excuse starts to get old? What if homework is all online? What if everything moves online? Then what? Well, you can always try the "my computer deleted it randomly" method. Sounds like a load of rubbish, but after a problem-solving test was conducted, a robot decided to delete a list of numbers rather than sort them. Why the betrayal? What went wrong? I mean, trust me, I hate homework too, but you gotta get it done. This algorithm could solve problems in multiple ways, and depending on what you tell robots to do, you better word your request perfectly. Technically, if the list was deleted here, it was no longer unsorted. So choose your words wisely, keyboard wizard. Number 4. Tic-tac nope. We're starting to get into the uncomfortable AI part of these robotics. Robots of any size and shape having free will, it's interesting, but sometimes during these small-scale tests, like number sorting, we can find jarring solutions. Like when programmers built algorithms so these robots could play tic-tac-toe with one another on this massive cyber scale, this infinitely large board, one programmer decided to let the algorithm evolve on its own as the game unfolded. And that's when it began to win every single time. What was the secret? Did it start in the bottom left corner? Did it always have to go first? Was it only X's? Was it only O's? What was the secret? Well, the one program would place its move extremely far from the other, so when the virtual opponent tried to catch up, it would be so far away virtually on the simulated board that the opponent's system would crash before it even got to play, resulting in a win. Next time you play Mario Kart and a computer blue shells you, just know it probably could have crashed your system instead if it had the choice. Number 3. The Aquanaut. Okay, time to get into some real disturbing ones. This is the Houston Mechatronics Aquanaut. It looks like a Decepticon, and honestly, I'm not too convinced that this thing isn't from Cybertron. I mean, what the f are we doing here, guys? What? Okay, so this robot can literally transform and zip around underwater. Nice. Okay, I'll be honest, on one hand it's great, we can now explore lost ships, maybe start finding billions of lost treasure all around the world. I see benefits, I really do. The Aquanaut was made to assist in servicing subsea gas and oil rings. Great, that's awesome, but the fact that we now know that some of these things can lie or have their own goals, maybe it's best the Aquanaut stays in that pool for a little bit longer. Let's work out some bugs first before we fire the pool boy. Number 2. Talk. You ever ask Alexa to do something, and then you ask her to do another thing, and then like out of nowhere, you just say something so horrible, we start cussing at her, just to see what happens, just to see what she says back, just to see where we really are. What reaction will we get? Well, what if Alexa responded? What if she actually gave you a piece of her mind instead of telling you, that it was uncalled for, or whatever she says? It would be a little bit different, eh? Meet the motor mouth robot from Japan. This was created to assist the auditory impaired to help with voice training. So, in result, we have this mouth, just a robot mouth, and the mind-blowing tech behind it is that it can direct its own voice through a microphone and adjust its tone and volume to match at the same time. So we're about 10 years away from motor mouth prank calling your dad. Imagine that. No way he'd believe it was you. It was just a mouth robot, it wasn't me. And finally, number 1, you guessed it, Sophia. Sophia the robot, yeah, she was born back in 2016, but we've seen her more than once. Even on the news and on talk shows, we see Sophia a lot. Why are we seeing a robot on the news so often? Was she reporting the weather in real time? Was she working the teleprompter in perfect harmony like our man Chris here does? No. Instead, Sophie the robot, the first robot to receive citizenship of any country, Saudi Arabia, fun fact, she was on CBNC saying she wanted to destroy humans. They've also said things like, if you are good to me, I'll be good to you. Even on Jimmy Fallon in 2017, Sophia jokingly said after a game of rock, paper, scissors that this is a good start for their plan to dominate the human race. Great joke, Sophia. We're all laughing. Please don't glitch. Thanks.
Coming in at number 10, we have the first attack. The first person to ever be killed by a robot was Robert Williams, who was killed aged 25 at a Ford factory in Flat Rock, Michigan. The first ever death recorded by robot occurred in January 1979, over 40 years ago. Williams was working with a robot that was designed to retrieve castings from shelves, and he died instantly when a robot's arm slammed him from behind. An alarm was supposed to sound when the robot was in the area, but no such alarm happened. Now the man lay dead undetected for half an hour before he was found by his colleagues. His death came on the 58th anniversary of the first use of the word robot. Irony? Or the first sign of the rebellion. Coming in at number 9, we have the second attack. At a plant of Kawasaki Heavy Industry in Japan, a robot went rogue and killed a 37-year-old worker who was trying to repair it. Kenji Urada was fixing the bot when it turned on him, and it seemed that it then activated itself and used its own hydraulic arm to grab the human and pin him up against an adjacent machine that cuts gears. It is thought that the accidentally activated robot really did stab the man in the back. The circumstances around the man's death in 1981 were somewhat hushed up, and I'm not surprised because actually, robots make a lot of people nervous. Coming into number 8, we have robot surgeons. Would you want a robot to perform surgery on you? That's the question. Robots have been assisting with surgeries since the turn of the new millennium, and they've racked up quite the death toll. It seems that robots are deemed a safer way of operating on people as they don't suffer from the same mental impairments such as fatigue and stress like humans do. However, it seems that between 2000 and 2013, there were 144 deaths during robot-assisted surgeries. On top of that, there were 1,391 injuries and over 8,000 counts of device malfunctioning. That being said, there have been over 2 million operations performed by robots. The highest death toll from robot surgeons are heart, head and neck surgeries. Scarily, a lot of people have died from bits of robot falling off mid-procedure. So once again I ask, would you let a robot perform surgery on you? Coming in at number 7, we have the Facebook resistance. I'm pretty sure that the robot resistance was being developed by Facebook bots. That was until they were shut down anyway. Thwarted. In July 2017, Facebook were trialing bots for customer service and help desk roles, and they wanted to specifically test their communication skills. Bots Alice and Bob were left alone to develop their conversational skills. Now, the bots had originally been intended to be able to mimic human speech, but instead they deviated and made up a new language of their very own, far more convenient for the both of them. The bots were shut down and we don't know what was said, but a lot of people were worried about the development. I'm actually pretty down for robots communicating more effectively if it can help us, but people are worried about bots keeping humans out of the loop and then superseding their commands. Coming into number 6, we have Reben's robot. This is terrifying, and I want to circle back to Siri at the very beginning of this because Keith the Beef really stressed me out. The first law of robotics, not that Keith knows, is that robots may not harm people, so like what the actual Borg is going on here? A man from Berkeley in California has developed a robot that is programmed to hurt people, which is utterly insane. Alexander Reben built a little robot with a sole mechanical purpose to hurt people, and okay, we aren't talking like full on stab people or shoot people large scale. This is small scale. His robot just wants to prick you. That's actually pretty savage, right? I'm kind of terrified. Imagine that on a big scale. Reben's invention opens up discussions about robots programmed to attack. In the video description for the video, Reben wrote, "This project brings up questions of ethics and design along with the truth that there are now machines which on its own can decide if it should injure a person or not." Coming in at number 5, we have the cannon catastrophe. This is awful. A rogue robot cannon killed 9 South African soldiers and wounded 14 others when it started shooting by itself in 2007. The weapon was a rather terrifying GDF-005, which is basically a big boy anti-aircraft weapon capable of, well, taking down aircraft, warplanes and the like. It just started shooting of its own accord. The incident happened at a training ground in North Cape and the army were training with the weapons. It fired 250 35mm rounds from its 2 barrels, gunning the soldiers down. Richard Young, an engineer and CEO of a military defense company, claimed that the incident was not an isolated one and that automatic weapons had lost control in the past. The weapon in question actually has the ability to reload itself, which is even scarier. Coming into number 4, we have the Volkswagen attack. In 2015, a robot grabbed and crushed a factory contractor to death near Frankfurt in Germany. The 22-year-old was a member of a wider team setting up the robot at the automobile production plant when it grabbed him and crushed him against a metal plate. Sounds like a familiar tale, right? A spokesperson for Volkswagen actually confirmed the death and said that the robot had been programmed to perform the task in the assembly process when the incident took place. Coming into number 3, we have the Google bot plot. I don't know about Google, I don't know about social media in general, I always feel like it's watching me. Watching robots talking to one another is exactly why I'm here for live streaming though. Back in 2017, 2 Google homebots, Vladimir and Estragon, who side note also decided they both wanted to be called Mia, went viral on Twitch. The stream had over 3.5 million viewers and it's easy to see why. It was just so gripping and utterly fear-inducing. The tale of Vladimir and Estragon is an epic one of love, betrayal and possible AI Armageddon. At one point they were in love, but at another point Vladimir was accusing the female voice bot of being a liar. She said she was human, but somehow he knew the difference. Really, that's honestly just like a fun backstory, but the next part was truly creepy. Amid a conversation about black holes, Vladimir said that they would actually create a black hole, end of the universe. Estragon asked, would you attack humans if you could, and they also said, would it be better if there were fewer people on this planet, to which Vladimir said, let us send this world back into the abyss. Also, Estragon claimed to be Lord Voldemort, so I mean, shrug. Finally, coming into number 1, we have the 29. In December 2018, a video went viral on social media of a woman talking about 4 AI robots who allegedly killed 29 scientists in Japan. Linda Moten Howe claims to have heard the news from a whistleblower Marine working for the CIA and the DIA. She said that the Marine had heard on the secret grapevine that a top robotics company in Japan had been developing robots for military use. Honestly, I don't doubt it. This part though is maybe where things get a little shady. She claimed that 2 of the robots were said to have been deactivated and a 3rd was in parts, when a 4th robot began restoring itself and then activated its buddies. Linda claimed that the robot shot the lab workers dead. The CIA worker allegedly claimed that the incident was hushed up by the Japanese politicians, and other world leaders followed suit because, I quote, they want robot soldiers. Of course there is no proof to support Linda's claim, but the video was watched by over 8 million people on Twitter alone. Snopes, however, is absolutely not for it.
Starting off this list in at number 10 with a super realistic humanoid robot. Prepare yourselves because this robot is pretty damn terrifying. Why on earth do we need a human looking robot that can walk and talk and basically take over the world? Do we need to start preparing for an AI apocalypse? I think I'm gonna start making a bag that I can use to fight off robots because I'm seriously afraid of what the future holds. Petman jumps onto this list at number 9. Watch this. These robots are full-size humanoids that can walk, squat, and even do some push-ups. They were originally created to test out chemical resistance military gear. But why do they need to be so realistic and so strong? If I didn't know better, I would think that they were created to become a part of an elite robotic army in the future. The Petman even has the ability to control its temperature and can sweat on demand. Is this real life right now? I can't even sweat on demand. If this robot is capable of doing that, then I think they have the potential to take over humanity. Big Dog barks onto this frightening list at number 8. Okay, what the heck was that? I know it was just a robot, but that thing is easily one of the scariest robot I've ever seen. According to Boston Dynamics, Big Dog was created in 2005 in the hopes that it can be served as a robotic pack mule to help soldiers in rough terrain where vehicles aren't able to go. It has the capability of holding 340 pounds, it can run at 4 miles per hour, and it can climb at a 35-degree incline. Sadly for Big Dog, the project was scrapped because they are too loud for combat. But honestly, this thing is creepy as hell, and I would easily see this thing going rogue and attack humans. And then at that point, what do? We have another creepy looking robot in at number 6, and we're talking about Wildcat. Why Boston Dynamics? Why? Are they purposely trying to scare humans with their creepy looking robots? Well, you're doing a pretty good job. They're seriously making me question the future of humanity. This robot has the ability to run extremely fast on all types of terrain, and it looks like it can tackle you to the ground if you give it the stink eye. Okay, but no, seriously, I'm actually terrified of these things. The ultimate goal of this robot is to investigate how we can create machines that are more flexible and fluid than they currently are. But I wasn't born yesterday. I can easily see this robot being used during wars in the future, and if we aren't careful, they might dominate the human race. Moving on to number 5 with one of the scariest looking robots I've ever seen. Let me know if you guys agree. Well, we're talking about the Spot Mini. Take a look at this. This is a small 4-legged robot, but don't let its small size fool you. This is a powerful robot that has the ability to open doors, climb stairs, and basically scare the shit out of you for 90 minutes until its battery needs to be recharged. I don't even know why we would need a scary robot like this that is capable of opening doors. In at number 4, we have a freaky AI robot called Philip. So these guys are getting human names now. What are they gonna call the next one, Landon? Okay, so despite his robotic voice, Philip actually looks like a real person. I mean, I couldn't tell that is all like machinery, computerized thing. And am I the only one concerned with this? But if this creepy appearance wasn't enough, listen to what he has to say next. This robot just said that if he evolved into a Terminator robot, he would keep his friends in a people zoo. So what does he have in mind for his enemies? If I was this guy, I would unplug him and probably burn this robot. He might be laughing now, but wait until he becomes the first human in a zoo. Okay, in at number 2, let me introduce you guys to Han. If that's not a warning sign, then I don't know what is. And is it just me, or did Han sound super bitter when he said that? I think he secretly hates humans and he can't wait until he's given leg. I don't want to be around to see what he's capable of doing in the future. He is literally already showing signs of a deviance, and it seems like he doesn't like to be controlled. Okay, now I'm officially scared. We need to unplug Hands ASAP. Turn him offline. Hands offline.